Lancer. 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 What is Lancer? Lancer is fucking peak! Now, before we truly discuss what Lancer is and why it is literally the best fucking TTRPG ever, we need to discuss what a TTRPG is. Probably. I mean, hypothetically. For people who don't know, I guess. Theoretically. You know, maybe. Possibly. You know, perhaps. Perchance. Now, if you don't know what a TTRPG is, TTRPG, excuse me, stands for Tabletop Role-Playing Game. If you don't know what that is, think Pathfinder. If you don't know what that is, think D&D. If you don't know what that is, so it's, there's, someone comes up with like a fantasy world, and then they're like, okay, now make a character in the fantasy world, and then you make there's like character sheets, and you make the character, and then you roll the dice or whatever, and you get to fucking be the character, and be like, I fucking cast Fireball or some shit. Pretty neato overall, you know. It's pretty cool. I quite recommend, you know, playing them if you ever get the chance. They're quite fun. You know, it's TTRPGs let you sort of experience these fantasy worlds without like certain like restrictions, I guess. Like there's a lot, like if you played Skyrim, for example, you know, it's pretty fun, but there's also like some limitations, right? Like there's just kind of like you have pre-chosen sort of responses and stuff. You know, there's just kind of like for example, with the Witcher series, the games at least, you know, they're very good, but they're also like, you know, you're you know, there's a lot of stuff that's crafted for you, you know. And with TTRPGs, while the world is generally crafted, if you've got a good sort of game master, they're called game masters or dungeon masters. Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, you know, the dungeon master or whatever. You can have these wonderful experiences with just these carefully crafted worlds, and you get to make a character and experience the world with like these sort of vivid descriptions. It's really cool. You know, it's this thing of like, long have we traveled in the plains of Azathoth, and long have my kin struggled against the yoke of the imperial someone or other, and long have we triumphed, you know, so on and so forth. Fantasy world. It's all fantastic. Genuinely really cool shit. However, I'm gonna tell you something right now, right? You know, a little sidebar before I say this, a little moment of like being reasonable before I truly begin this video. D&D, you know, I play D&D a bit. It's actually quite fun. I really do recommend it. It helps, you know, get like your creative juices going. There's stuff for everybody. I think it's D&D is a little more heavy on the sort of role playing side. I think Pathfinder is more on the combat side, which is I'm trying to do a thing for. I'm making like a fucking combat system of some sort for D&D because I just wanted to put guns in it. I just wanted to put real guns in it, and now it's like 300 something pages long, and it's don't worry about it. You know what? Okay, sidebar over. All those TTRPGs, right? It's fucking Pathfinder, too heavy on the combat. D&D, too heavy on the roleplay. Fucking Starfinder. I don't know anything about Starfinder. I don't know. There's probably other ones. Yeah, but you know what? They're all shit. Every single one of them. They're dog shit. You know why? You know why they're all dog shit? Because Lancer is fucking peak. Because it is peak fiction. Because it is absolutely the best goddamn thing ever. And you know why? Because it has giant motherfucking mechs in it. It is absolute goddamn motherfucking peak. Lancer is the best goddamn TTRPG. Take all the other fucking ones, throw them out the window. They're all shit. They all suck. Because they all got fucking like giant fucking like big mech robot. Oh god, giant robot, Jesus fucking Christ, it's so fucking cool, it's fucking peak fiction, this is peak fiction. I don't care about dragons, I don't care about ancient wars, I care about giant fucking mechs. I'm on my big robot arc, motherfucker. This shit is peak, it is literally the peak of fiction. It is so fucking good, it is so fucking goddamn, it is, Elden Ring! Oh, Elden Ring! It's fucking peak. I love this shit, dude. Holy shit. Lancer, fucking absolute goddamn peak. And you know what? I'm gonna. If they made a video game, this would be like the greatest fucking video game ever. They won't probably because it's a TTRPG, but it's so fucking good. Okay. Mechanized warfare, mechs, fiction. What is mech? What mech? What is mech? What is a mech? Well, you've got examples like Titanfall, very good game actually. Titanfall 2 at least is. I don't know if you can play Titanfall 1 anymore, but Titanfall 2, very cool. I recommend going playing it. Very cool game. But you know what the fucking flaw is in comparison to Lancer? I'll tell you. All the mechs are humanoid, which they look cool and it's fun to play. They're all humanoid. Oh, they got 2 arms, they got 2 legs, and they got a big, like, head chassis. It's like the big middle. They got and they got the big part in with the. Like they look cool, but they're all humanoid. Is that bad? No, not necessarily. Very cool, but just they're all humanoid. I think Gundam, right? It's like mecha anime, right? You got that one. They're all humanoid again. You got Evangelion, which kind of is sort of a mech anime a little bit. I think, kind of. It's very strange. A little edgy, actually. It's like very edgy, actually. Anyway, yeah, they got they're big too. They're like fucking big mechs, but they're like also quite humanoid. And then you have I don't know, fucking like BattleTech, Mech Warrior, which are like more like realistic-ish takes on mechs, but like with like almost not modern day technology, but like the kind of they're very they're like walking tanks basically. And they're pretty cool. They're also pretty cool. I think they have actually some less humanoid designs. I think there's like in Mech Warrior Online, for example, there's the I think it's called the Raven, which is a little side story. This one time I was playing Mech Warrior and I got like the free trial of the Raven, and I put a bunch of fucking like laser beams on it, and it's like the tiniest little dinky fucking mech. It has no health, and I ran around and I just fucking laser beam people, and it was the most like they would be in like these super heavy mechs, and they would turn around to deal with me, and they couldn't because I was just literally running circles around them. It was the silliest fucking thing ever, and I wish I had that Raven, but I don't, sadly. Tragically, the whatever trial of the Raven ended, but very fun. Mech Warrior Online, play a good game. Also, play it hypothetically. The one exception to the list of mech stuff that I'm listing though, fucking Armored Core, pretty fucking cool actually. You get to make some crazy fucking designs. However, all of them, every single fucking thing I just listed, all of them pale in comparison to Lancer. You know why? You know why? Because Lancer does not have limits. Because people fucking put peak in Lancer. Because they said, we're gonna make Lancer the greatest fucking mech thing ever. And they fucking cooked. Oh, what's that? I don't want to play a humanoid mech. I want to play a centaur mech. They fucking got it. You want to play... I don't even... This one, I don't even know how this one's like... This is like the devil. I don't know how this is a mech. But you know what? There's like a guy somewhere in there. He's fucking having fun. He's like, whoa, I'm piloting the giant. It's so fucking good, dude. There's this one called the I'll put it on screen. The Pegasus or whatever. Yeah. You see how it's like on 4 legs and shit, and you got the fucking you see that thing on the back? You see that? That's like I think like a black hole or like a gravity singularity or something, right? You want to guess why it's called the fucking Pegasus? I'll tell you why. It's because Lancer's fucking peak. There's this one called the Goblin. He's a little goblin. He's a little goblin. Yeah, he's like, oh, the fantasy land. Except this one gets a fucking shotgun, probably. I don't know. And then there's, oh my god, earlier on in the fucking thing, there's like this one mech that he's like, still humanoid. They got humanoid mechs too. They don't skip out. Man, they do not skip out at all. They got peak and they got more peak. Fucking this one though has a revolving rifle. Now this is like, it's like so this is a giant mech, right? You can see the little guy right there. The fucking revolvers, like the 6-shooter, like the Western, like I'm a cowboy and I'm gonna draw, and they fucking it's high noon and all that. Yeah, but like there used to be like rifle versions of those. I think there might still be. They're kind of cool. This is cooler because this one I don't know what they load into this, but this is fucking awesome. It's so fucking cool. And oh my god, the detail, the absolute fucking look at Look at this shit. Look at this fucking peak. This is absolutely peak. Oh my god, I love this shit. I am on my fucking big robot arc. I'm on my, like, I am on my bullshit right now. Oh my god. Oh, is that a hydraulic limb? Ooh wee. I love this shit. Oh my god, I love this shit. Oh. To be a mercenary mech pilot in a far-off future when a man's life is measured not in its unique worth, but in the number of battles he survives and the foe he bests. Oh, to be clad in a true form of steel and hydraulics, to overcome the frailty of flesh with power unrelenting. Oh, Lancer is fucking peak. I absolutely adore this shit. I am now also going to, I think, ramble on about why I love this shit, and I'm gonna try and introduce people a little bit to the setting, maybe hypothetically, because it's really cool, and I think people should play it. Because Lancer, it does not get enough attention because it's fucking peak, because it's like the fucking awesome. Yeah. The setting of a Lancer is one that takes place in the far-off future of 5016 U. The galaxy is home to a lot of people. I think, like, in the lore, they just, like, toppled a regime of some sort, and now there's like a, I think there's like a, I think there's like a fucking less regime or something like that. And the galaxy is discordant, and there's like a bunch of people doing their own thing. And in Lancer, you get to not play as like a little person, although I think that would be kind of cool. You do technically play as a little person, but like mostly you play as the titular Lancers. You're a fucking, you are, they call it a mechanized cavalry pilot. You pilot a mech, and it's fucking, it's so fucking good. I think it's all humans in terms of species, as far as I'm aware. And it's fucking peak. This is peak fucking fiction. The galaxy's in chaos. You get to be a fucking mercenary or like something, and you get to fucking the mech, and you get to go in the and it's, oh god, it's so, and there's like modularity with these mechs. This setting is, oh god, and there's so much fucking cool shit in here. It is future. You mech pilot, you get to be mech pilot. It's so fucking cool. It's and unlike a lot of other sort of RPGs, not even just TTRPGs, but like RPGs in general. In contrast to leveling up, because like for example in Skyrim, or in D&D, or in fucking, I don't know, Pathfinder, The Witcher, you know, on and on and on. There's levels, right? You get stronger, you get a level. Nah, not in Lancer. In Lancer, I mean, it's basically leveling up, but they call it's a license, and it's like you get to have cooler mechs and shit. And it's fucking so cool, dude. I adore Lancer. This is fucking peak. The fucking, oh my god. Anyway, setting is, there's a bunch of like mechs and shit, and there's a bunch of mech pilots, and everybody's out for themselves, basically on the fringes of a galaxy, doing whatever the fuck. It's so fucking good.
Viper coming right. Target clear. Swift 8 go south. Crow at 12 o'clock high. Repeat, 12 o'clock high.
There's a few different kinds of fucking backgrounds and stuff, you know, because it's a galaxy. There's diasporans who are they live on planets, and they're just kind of like, they've never even heard of like the big fucking galactic empires or whatever. There's cosmopolitans who live on their ships and stuff. There's the outlaw background, which is a little more of a Western feel. There's NHPs, which are non-human persons, which I think are these sort of like, they're like fucking, there's like a parallel, you know Mass Effect, you know, like the gates, the fucking jump gates, the fucking relays or whatever the fuck. So it kind of like that, except more like, I think, Warhammer, and it's like a parallel thing, and you like, it's like Mass Effect gates that go through the warp, kind of, sort of, and there's like beings from that, and then there's also like robots and shit, like AIs and stuff, and I'm probably gonna like, I'm definitely gonna put like fucking the like the backgrounds and shit just on the fucking screen or whatever, because there's so much fucking shit here. It's so fucking it's so fucking peak. There's so much. It's pure fucking peak, dude. Holy shit.
Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Now, Lancer's combat system and just general play, I guess, is actually sort of more similar, I think, to Pathfinder, if I had to take a guess. It is lighter on roleplay, but very, very heavy on sort of the tactical gameplay. You have sort of a mission briefing, you have preparation, you have reserves, there's a bunch of stages to like combat and stuff, and a lot of it's just it's very, very tactical in terms of the actual gameplay, as opposed to something like D&D where it's a lot heavier on the roleplay and a little lighter on the actual gameplay. But it's fucking peak. It's fucking awesome. Like, actually, genuinely, kind of incredible. There are 5 main manufacturers of mechs in Lancer. Firstly and foremostly, and this one is predominantly for the sort of like basically level 0, like you're a new Lancer pilot out of fucking whatever. Firstly, we have General Massive fucking Systems, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's shortened to GMS, and the mech they make is basically just sort of I think the way this one is described is they describe it as a plain and unpretentious mech defined by simple lines, functional grace, and universal compatibility and sturdy bulk, which I think kind of sounds a little bit more like think like Mech Warrior BattleTech kind of mechs, where it's like it's a functional thing, but it's not like, you know, compared to like a Gundam, probably, you know, it probably wouldn't really do super well. You know, they're pretty cool though, and it's sort of just a general like, this is the starting point, and you know, it's like a basic mech or whatever, and I believe GMS as well is like the oldest manufacturer out of all of them, and they've just been making that same mech for fucking ages, which is, I mean, it's kind of silly, you know. The other ones have like all this like lineup of mechs or whatever, and they're just like, nah, this one's good. We'll stick with this one forever, and they have stuck with it so far. It's pretty cool. Next up, we have IPSN. These guys are, apparently they were more like companies, I guess, and they suffered a lot of piracy, and now they do a lot of anti-piracy, and they do a lot of like ship stuff, and so their mechs are generally a little more industrial kind of looking, a little like here and there, right? There's some pretty cool shit. We'll get to them in a moment. There's some pretty cool shit there, but they generally have like a certain degree of like almost like this, like, not quite cobbled together, but like built out of like the machinery that they work on kind of stuff, you know? Like, for example, the first one we have is the Blackbeard. Now, if you'll notice, there's some steam coming out the sides there. There's like these like, heating turbine vent things, and then there's like one thing that's actually kind of prominent with this company is, if you'll, I'll try to point it out with each one I go to, but their mechs kind of, most of them don't really have heads per se. They have heads, but they've got like that's not like, it's a little fucking little flat kind of like little triangle thing going on, you know, like a little block of cheese, right? Like, instead of having like, you know, these full on, you know, like, oh, I've got a funny little like head or whatever going on, they got like a full it's built more for function over form, it seems like, right? You know, very cool looking, but also very much, you know, functional, right? And the Blackbeard itself, for example, as far as mechs go, is they made it as a solution to piracy, you know? It hits fast, it fucking, it's very slim, I guess, you know? It's just fast. It's like think like an interceptor fighter plane of some sort, and that's sort of what the Blackbeard is. Next up, we have the IPSN Drake, which is a Defender class mech. I should probably talk about those at some point. The basic gist is like, you have like Defender classes. I guess they're like tanks. You got artillery mechs. You got fucking whatever mechs. Different like mech vibes. You know what I mean? At any rate, the Drake was the first foray into military-grade mech design for the IPSN, I guess. It is they describe it as a backbone of proactive trade security and anti-piracy, and it is a very very bulky mech. It's like look at it looks more like something out of fucking what do you call it, Jinro, I think, right? Wolf Brigade or whatever. Looks kind of like one of those guys. Kind of fucking awesome. And it's also even though it has the little helmet on, you can still kind of see the face or the head or whatever is still very low to the actual the mech chassis, it still doesn't quite have that whole quite like Gundam. I know Gundam or whatever, I think the head is just like a camera or whatever, but it's still very much like a humanoid kind of helmet kind of thing. Even here with that one, you don't quite have that. Next up, we have the Lancaster, which, yes, I mean, this one definitely doesn't have a head. Well, it has a head, but look at it, right? This thing, by the way, I actually really like the design of this thing. It reminds me a lot of Boston Dynamics, their little dog thing or whatever. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? It's just that with guns and also gigantic. You see the little guy fucking, I don't know if it's a beer or a coffee. I don't know what the fuck he's drinking. He's having a fun time. At any rate, this mech is a sort of it's a military version of sort of transport and maintenance stuff, I guess. It's very accurate, I suppose. And it's sort of you can obviously tell it's not necessarily a tank or whatever. It's very much like a support mech, like an engineer kind of thing. It helps out on the battlefield as just support. It's very much, again though, you see more with IPSN, the function over form for the most part. Though I think with the next mech that does, it's still function, but holy shit, they do not skip out on the form either. The Nelson. Oh, the Nelson. The Nelson. I fucking love this mech. I love this goddamn mech. As described by its little blurb, the IPSN Nelson is the purest embodiment of the close quarters doctrine espoused by its manufacturer. It is built to brawl, thriving when ordnance has been exhausted or when the environment is too volatile for firearms. With its functional size, the Nelson can strike fast and remain a difficult target to track. Layers of fractal fold armor, lock plating with ceramic, and what the fuck am I? Armor. It's got armor, and they nullify the power of bullet by dispersing kinetic energy across a rounded hole. It's these things look. It's fucking cool though. It's this is one of the few for IPSN that actually has the few. There's two that have sort of human heads, kind of almost, sort of helmety kind of things. It's so it's just a knight. This is one of the things that Lancer does really well. Is it blends a lot of fantasy or stereotypical TTRPG stuff with their sci-fi setting. So where you would normally have for example Titanfall 2 mechs where they're all kind of they kind of have a similar design all across the board. Here, even with IPSN Nelson, or the IPSN company and then the Nelson itself, there's such a difference between this one and any of the other previous ones, and especially the dog one. This shit fucking rocks. Genuinely, absolute fucking peak. And then, of course, we have the another personal favorite, the Rally, it's high noon, the fucking Jesse McCree, the cowboy one, which was made as a IPSN wanted to make a combat mech or something like that, and it didn't do super well or whatever, and then I don't know, it's pretty cool. Apparently it didn't perform super well in their actual tests or whatever, which is fucking crazy because this thing fucking again, we have more of the design thing with where the head is less sort of humanoid or whatever. This one though, actually, you know what? This helmet reminds the fucking head reminds me of that guy from I'll put a picture up, but Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the fucking guy with the sewer grate on his head. He's one of the the bounty hunters. I don't remember his name. It's fucking starts with an E, I think. But yeah, no, I mean it fucking, oh god. And by the way, just this is the same. I mentioned this in the Transformers 1 video I did of oh, it's all on Cybertron, doesn't really communicate how big they are. Look at the fucking revolver and realize that is larger than a person. I fucking love that shit. It's so fucking cool. The next mech we have though is the Tortuga, which is a defender and striker mech. So it's sort of a blend of two. This was made to breach and clear stuff on in space. and it sort of occupies a lot of space. It's think of like a almost like a Spec Ops kind of like tactical like SWAT kind of mech. Very bulky, very heavy, but also very like functional, very like efficient kind of movement and such. You can see like the fucking, I think those are like grenades and stuff, just like fucking strapped to it or whatever, you know, ready for use and stuff. Very like kind of tactical thing. It also just has a gigantic gun, dude. Holy shit! God, I want to. This shit's so fucking cool. I love this one. This one is. I think most of them are like one of my favorites, but this one is. I really adore this one's design. I like the helmet is almost like the red berets or whatever in the real world or whatever. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that. I think they're called red berets, right? There's green berets. I think it's red berets. I don't know. Anyway, you then have the next mech. I believe this is the final mech of IPSN. It is called the Vlad. It is the second iteration of a legacy model they made, and it is okay, so it apparently shares a lot of its design philosophy and ancestry with like mining frames and stuff like that. However, look at this thing. This is the other one that has like a human head basically. And even then, it actually reminds me of a lot of. There's another one later on that reminds me a little bit of like Warframe or whatever, the head shape or whatever. This one reminds me of Destiny. Like I don't play Destiny too much, but like the I think it's the Titan, I want to say, or whatever that class is. Like the head alone reminds me of that. And then you got the fucking like look at this fucking thing. Look at it. It's fucking this peak. Lancer is fucking peak. At any rate, I believe this is also. Actually, I don't know if this is like the strongest mech they have. It doesn't matter. This shit's fucking peak. I don't care if it's strong. It's cool as fuck. It looks fucking awesome. That's IPSN. That's their mechs. God, I love mechs. Next up, we have the Smith Shimano Corporo. This is another old. So GMS is the oldest company in the setting, and Smith Shimano Corporo is the second oldest corporation. They have a very adaptable sort of business model, and their mechs reflect that basically in every aspect. They were made with sort of like deep space exploration in mind and stuff like that. But they're also they're resilient, but they're built basically. Their mechs are built to not take hits. As opposed to like for example with IPSN you have the fucking the Tortuga, and the other one that had like the big fucking helmet and looked like a Jinro kind of thing. The SSC, they by contrast have sort of a lot lighter mechs, a lot lighter frames. So if you're looking for just generally like lighter stuff, I guess this would be the corporation I think you would go for, probably, hypothetically. First on the list though, just kind of showing off some really cool stuff. I feel like, no, I'm gonna get to this because there's like a mech later on that kind of speaks to it more. But they have a very specific design like style with their mechs. They have like cutting edge technology. The first one on the I realized I'm like yapping. The first one on the list is the Black Witch, which is it's like it has cutting edge technology, I guess, and it fucking supports and it's like a you control the battlefield kind of mech. And just look at it. This is why Lancer is peak, because the designs vary so wildly from like mech to mech. Like you had some more like functional stuff with IPSN, and now with SSC, I mean it's functional, yeah, sure, and it fucking looks awesome. But you can tell there's like a very clear difference between like the design philosophies between the two companies, and that's kind of what Lancer does really, really well. Is each of the mechs are sort of reflective of the companies. The companies are very different, and they all offer sort of different stuff in them. Anyway, the Black Witch, good lord. But also, holy shit, look at the fucking look. It reminds me a lot, I guess, of sort of like Grenier from Warframe. I don't know if anybody's played Warframe. Reminds me a lot of them, like at least the head and stuff, a little bit like even of like the scorpions and stuff. Very, very cool. Almost like a Kuva Lich thing, I guess. Anyway, I'm yapping about Warframe. I go play that game. It's pretty cool. But I gotta be yapping about the next mech, which is the SSC Death's Head. which is an artillery platform. It's very precise, and it's very maneuverable, and it looks really fucking freaky, and I really fucking dig it. It looks almost like it took me a while to figure out what it looked like to me, but it looks like a Grineer weapons platform. This is what I mean. Like, it looks like a Grineer weapons platform. Maybe one from like Tile Reg or whatever. But like, you see the eyes and the shit. And it's got the two little arms as well. So it's kind of got almost like that body horror aspect of like, is that a fucking person? You know? But then you also have, and this is another thing. I feel like they know, because look at the little guy standing on top. Does that not look a little bit like Loki? Like, just a teensy wit, you know? At any rate, it's an artillery platform. A fucking cool as shit artillery platform. Yeah, I kind of like that a lot. Next up, though, we have the SSC Duskwing, which is another controller and support model, so same as like the Black Witch. This one is sort of made for deep space, I think, exploration is what it says, and it's sort of like a. It's not necessarily super heavy in terms of military stuff. Like, obviously it's functional, but you know, they say that it's the same thing as the Vlad, where they say, oh well, technically this one is like a legacy model built off of like a mining robot or something. What the hell were they mining? Like, what in the goddamn? Nevertheless, this is one of my favorite designs in the entire thing. I love the fucking I struggle to know even like what to say about these, because the designs are so unique and fucking like, there's so much detail. There is so much detail put into each of these, and we're not even done with the second corporation or the third corporation technically, but like, oh god, like look at this fucking thing. It reminds me a lot of like the North Star from Titanfall 2 with the fucking jet wing things or whatever on the back. Reminds me a lot of that, and then it's got it's got a lot of arms as well. And then it's got like these hooped feet. Like, you can tell as well, like the company is about, you know, fast hitting stuff. You can tell, you know, this does not look like it would stand up to too many hits, but it looks fucking sick, you know. Then we have the next sort of mech, which would be the Metal Mark. It is a Spec Ops, I think. No, wait, hold on. Mil Spec. I don't think it's Spec Ops. Actually, I have lied to you. I have deceived you all. This mech is fucking. I think it's just more of the usual. It's Striker, so it's a quick hitting kind of like damage mech. I think it is it's sort of like there's not too many of them being produced or something like that. Like a very elite model, I think. Look at this fucking thing. I'm not even gonna just look at the fucking knee joints. Look at the legs. It looks like it's made almost of like meat, but then wires and shit. And then it's got the fucking coolest. The helmet reminds me again. A lot of Warframe. Reminds me of Mag, actually, from Warframe. Kind of gives me that vibe. Very cool shit though. Really do. This is another one of my like. I don't know, something about the lot of arms does it for me. It's like the peak fucking mech design. Next we have the SSC Monarch, which is it's another artillery platform. Very fast moving, and despite its large size, it is very quick. And you know, it's kind of wild to me that this is artillery, because I think this is the one that had the revolving rifle or whatever, like the blue one, it's just red. And it's kind of wild that this is artillery, because this one does not look like artillery. But I think this one would be fucking like all-purpose, but no, it's artillery, which is fucking wild. It's kind of fucking awesome though. Like a revolving rifle, as per. You got I think those are missile racks in its shoulders or whatever. It's just like, this shit is fucking peak. Like, I'm gonna keep saying that like throughout the entire video. I love this. I love this shit. That one, I don't think I need to talk too long about the Monarch, because the design is just absolute like top tier. Absolutely adore that. Then we have the next mech, which is the Mourning Cloak. Not mourning as in like, hey, good morning. Mourning as in like I'm at a funeral. The Mourning Cloak, the SSC Mourning Cloak, is a Striker model. It is a close quarters combat and melee specialist frame. So just hypothetically, this reminds me a lot of the fucking Boreal Dancer from Dark Souls 3. Look at, or even not even the fucking, what are the Outrider Knights and shit? Like, this shit is fucking awesome. You know? Like, just, there's so much, like, there's so much variation in the designs in Lancer it's so fucking cool. It's so fucking. Look at the fucking like the little kelp wings or whatever, and the fucking the arm, and it's got like a rapier, and it's like I don't even know where that sword ends. Actually, yeah, no, that sword is like fucking long. That sword ends on the other page actually. It's like it's so fucking cool. At any rate, this one's you know, a pretty neato mech for just kind of like being efficient in combat and stuff. You know, very precise kind of stuff. And then we have, I believe, the last mech in the SSC catalog, which is the Swallowtail, which is quote their primary long-range scouting and fire support platform, built for rapid and sustained ranging across hostile, volatile environments. This is, you know, an artillery platform, effectively. I think it's a support mech specifically, but you know, look, like yeah, it's got again, it has those two little arms like sticking out, kind of like. What the fuck? Did they put a person in this? And it's got like cloaking, as you can see in the picture there. You got the little fucking sniper having like a tea break. Having a tea break. A lot more hooves as well. A lot of the mechs for SSC have hooves, weirdly enough. I think it's really cool, honestly. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, like this one, pretty sick overall. Again, looks kind of like a Grenier War Machine. Looks almost like a Thumper from Warframe, but like lighter and more agile and so on and so forth. Yeah. And that's SSC.
Then the shadows pierce they crank.
Next up on our list of corporations, we have, I think, honestly, my favorite corporation for designs. This one is called Horus. And before we get to mech designs, I'm gonna cover their backstory a little bit, which is nobody knows what the fuck, like exactly who they are or where they came from. They're very secretive. They do a lot of funky shit. Quote, their group's history is as mercurial as its present. They have a lot of like, they have mechs, and then, but they're weird, you know? They're like weirdly, they're like funky and shit. And they're not like, all the other mechs we've seen so far, right? They've been, you know, yeah, it's like a robot. You can tell like there's probably a person in there and so on and so forth. But you know, it's been kind of like reasonable. And I'm gonna yap a little bit about the first mech they have, which is the Baylor, which is a striker defender mech. So you know, hits hard, defends pretty good. And this thing is you know, it's got some roles in combat. It's you know, it's pretty alright. It's got fucking nanites. What the fuck? It's got a gray wash nanites from an undulating shroud that can pour out of its chassis. It's got a bunch of freaky shit. And, you know, just keep in mind the other designs, you know, the Boston Dynamics dog, the, like, fucking one that looked like a guy, the Tortuga, the other ones that looked like people, kind of. And now we have this. I don't know how this is a mech, but I am here for it. There's, like, a guy in there somewhere, and he is having the time of his fucking life. Like, this doesn't look like a mech. Like, it looks like a mech, right? And then it doesn't. It looks like they went to hell, pulled a demon out of hell, trapped it in a fucking metal suit of armor, and then told it to go kill people. And it is fucking furious about it. This thing fucking rocks. And Horus just keeps designs like this. This is a thing where, like, even the next mech, we'll get to it in a second, I guess, but, like, Horus does a fantastic job of, or whoever designed, like, a bunch of the Horus mechs, they do a fantastic job of, like, it's more reference to that, you know, to like classical TTRPGs, all that fantasy stuff, all that, you know, the dragons and shit. Like that's just a demon. I don't like, I know it's like nanites. They say it's nanites or whatever. That is just a demon. It's fucking awesome. Next up, we have the Horus Goblin, which is a controller and support model. Quote, the Goblin was the first identified Horus frame and is likely the oldest legacy chassis prior to Horus's transition to pattern groups. So this one's old. And, you know, I think it kind of shows because it's very small, you know, it's sort of like, you might say like a primitive, it's obviously not meant to take hits and stuff, and I'm not sure if you've noticed, if you haven't, I'll point it out now, you can see the guy. This thing is barely a mech, this is more like a powered exoskeleton or like power armor. Like, it is barely big, it's like maybe 3 people stacked on top of each other, if you really stretch, you know, how tall people are. This thing, very short, very small, very cool, but also very short, very small. I also adore that they call it the Goblin or whatever, because again, Horus has like a lot of like references to fantasy and stuff, like with their names and stuff, and then also with their designs. It's very, very cool shit. I quite like it. It's a little guy, a little goblin. Very cool. Then we have the Horus Gorgon, which is sort of unique among the Horus patterns because it prioritizes the survival of people in general. You know, it's a defender instead of you know, like just being like scary and shit. And it is scary. It does fucking quote. It fields a typical complement of horrifying, confusing, and uncanny weapons. Yeah, I'd believe it. Its head looks like a fucking one of those flowers that like opens up or whatever the fuck, and it's like with the little bulbs or whatever. It looks like a fucking frog almost, with like the way it's fucking standing and shit. And it's got fucking 4 arms and shit. It looks like it's covered in warts and stuff. Like, look at this. It's got like a fucking like a bug chassis chest thing. I don't even like. It looks like it has like a fucking ant coming out of its chest. Look at this fucking like. What the fuck is fucking sick? And then the person obviously like fucking sitting in the hand or whatever has like an extra arm or whatever there with the fucking. Absolute fucking peak. Love this shit. Genuinely. Next up, we have the Horus Hydra, which is a, there's no standard model for this one. It's just kind of given, it's a designation given to the chassis in general. It is a striker and controller mech, and it can fucking break itself into lots of little pieces, which, yeah, you can see what it's This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Lancer peak. Peak, Lancer. Lancer peak. Look at this. I already like the designs with like the multiple arms or whatever, and this one just has like the arms can fly now. Absolute peak. Genuine. And look at it. I don't even, those are like bone whips. It's like something on Mortal Kombat. Shit fucking rocks. I genuinely, I don't even know what this design, like, I don't know if this design reminds me of anything, basically. Like, it reminds me of like freaky Eldritch stuff. And I absolutely adore that. This is Lancer, yeah, they're such good designs, man. Oh my god. Next up, we have the Horus Manticore, which is a striker mech. It focuses on like a lot of hacking, weirdly enough. Though it does, you know, I think also it could probably kill somebody pretty quick. Like, look at this. This thing, I don't even. It looks like a fucking. Oh my god, what are those? If anybody here has played Endless Legend, not even Endless Space, I think, but like Endless Legend, there's like these little, it's like a minor civilization or whatever, and there's like these little guys who are like these freaky, like, hunched bug guys. They look kind of like this, I think, kind of, sort of. I'll get a picture of them. This shit, I'm running out of compliments, man. Like, I love this shit. I love this shit so much. The fucking, and again, the detail, the sheer amount of detail. This thing is fucking awesome. It looks like a fucking parasitic like dragon or something. Like oh my god, I love that thing. And now we have, of course, the classic, you know, the boy, the Minotaur, the Horus Minotaur, which is a controller mech, and is sort of like it's kind of got a similar kind of color scheme to the Goblin. However, what do I even say? Dude, I love this shit. I love that it's not like a humanoid mech. I love that it's like a fucking, there's like part of a human in there, and he's got a gun, and then there's like not even a head, and he's got the fucking like the horns or whatever, and it's got the fucking like it looks like a fucking like a rhino almost, but like I fucking love this design. This is one of my favorite mechs from like just like recognizing creativity and stuff. This is one of my favorite mechs. I absolutely adore this one's design. It is a fucking it's got like a fucking like a space distorting thing on the inside as well. Like they're like it's like that glowy bit at the top, I think, is like a fucking, not like a black hole, but like it warps space a little bit, so there's more space on the inside than there is on the outside. This fucking mech is oh god, I love this fucking mech. It's so fucking cool. Next up, we have the Horus Pegasus, which is an artillery platform. Now, here's a concept. Why do you think it's called a Pegasus? Theoretically, you know, that thing on its back, that little like, you know, like fucking black hole, singularity, gravitational, whatchamacallit? I have a sneaking suspicion that might have to do with it. At any rate, this one, this doesn't even look like a mech. Like, there's a person in there somewhere. Like, I think that's the crazy concept about like all the horse mechs, is somewhere with the exception of the Goblin, right, where I can see the guy, and I think maybe with the Minotaur as well. Where is the person? How big is this fucking thing? It looks like there's a fucking rib cage open on its spine, and there's like it looks like a freaky frog. It looks like it's got a flamethrower for a head. This looks like a fucking like this doesn't look human in any way, and it fucking rocks. It also has an ability called probabilistic cannibalism, which, like, I don't think it has to do with eating people, but like, it's freaky, you know. It's fucking. Anyway, sorry. I'm like, I gotta like not keep the video super long, but God, I love this shit. And that is actually the last mech for Horus. It's tragically, truly tragic. God, I love the Pegasus though. Lastly, we have Harrison. This company, Harrison Armory, they are, you know, they got a good reputation. Think whoever the fuck made the Tone or whatever. I don't remember exactly who made the fucking mechs in Titanfall 2, but think kind of like that company, right? Where they just make like good mechs overall. These guys make big mechs. They make bulky mechs. They make the heavy shit, the fucking like high quality armor, walking mech warrior, battle tech, armored core, kind of stuff like that. Firstly, of course, we have their first mech, the Barbarossa, which is an artillery frame, but proves the general idea. Look at this fucking thing. This thing is a fucking brick shit house. It literally just looks like a guy in really heavy armor, and I actually really adore that. It's got like a funky little head or whatever it looks like. Like he's got a little mouth there, you know. He's got like the little fucking the knight. Like, I don't know what that's called, the fucking like chain metal skirt thing, but it's not made of chain. It's like for a mech, and like, look at the guy. He's having a great time. Look at him, and the little guy standing on top with the fucking, I think that's a smoking pipe. The fucking absolutely like, you know, the heavy mechs, right? And I'll be real, I'll be honest, right? I'm probably gonna have a little bit less to say about these ones, about the Harrison Armory ones, not because I don't like the designs, but because I like Horus and the SSC stuff a lot, right? Those are kind of like my peak. These ones are very cool though, and I think you know, if you're at all interested, you know, look at them, right? You know, genuinely just appreciate them. I think a lot of these mech designs as well are kind of like old and such as well, which is sort of probably what contributes as well to sort of their general like function design rather than any sort of like they have form, but you know, they got sort of a certain degree of like heavy function over form. Next up we have the HA, I think I don't know if it's Genghis or Genghis, you know, the guy, the Khan, that guy. This is a striker mech, which, quote, the original frame marked the dawn of the mech age. The Armory's new line seeks to redefine it. This mech is I mean, this reminds me a lot of like the Scorch from Titanfall 2. It might be the fire. It might be the fire. It might be the fucking flamethrower. Honestly, that might be what's doing it. But it's also very, very bulky. It's very like heavy. It reminds me a lot of even like the Monarch from Titanfall 2. What with like how like top heavy it is almost. And like it looks like this thing would like run through buildings. You know what I mean? Like it's got sort of that like vibe to it where it's like this heavy piece of machinery that is sort of unmatched in its field. It's also got a lot of like fire stuff. I mean, yeah, obviously it's got fire stuff, but it's yeah. Next, we actually have a controller mech, called the Iskander, which is a bit of a funky one. This one has quote, Gravtech area control and breach capabilities. So you know, yeah, it's got magic. They got magic, Lancer magic, mech magic. It's actually I actually quite like this one's design because this one's a little less like. For me, obviously, this one's a little less bulky or whatever, and I kind of like how like it's a little weird. It's got like a sort of like a almost like a holy figure kind of vibe to it, like some sort of like priest almost with the head and shit. But then it's obviously got all the mechanized bits, and like, yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Like I could imagine this being a guy in you know, some fucking place or whatever, and obviously there's a person in there somewhere. But I really like this design as well. It's very like, apparently it's got like a sort of like tactical magic vibe to it, which is something you don't see that much. I think there's a game coming out that's like wizards with guns or something like that. No, I think that's the that's the survival game. I will put whatever I'm talking about on screen so that I don't sound insane, hypothetically. Yeah. Anyway, I like this mech a lot as well. Then the next mech we have is the HA Napoleon, which is a defender and controller mech. Which is sort of a bit shorter, wink wink nudge nudge, but it is a very, very sort of effective mech that can kind of like make use of, again, space magic. They got cool space magic. And it's also just a very cool design. It's got the 4 arms, but it has like 2 smaller arms that are sort of, you know, holding the gun or whatever, and it's got the big arms that are like doing the fucking magic or whatever. It seems almost like they're shielding the smaller arms so that you can keep shooting stuff. And it's got that freaky little head or whatever, which I think is just doing the space magic. Like, I don't really know what more I can say about like the mech designs. They are genuinely really fucking cool, and this one is like just funky enough that it's like, yeah, I kind of like the color scheme. I kind of like the this and the that. I like the fucking little like the little, I don't know what they're called, but these things. I really like this. It is also they literally say like perhaps in a tongue-in-cheek nod to its namesake, the Napoleon is a squat frame in comparison to sort of like the other ones. So you know, yeah, it's a short little guy. Yeah. Next we have the H.A. Saladin. Saladin? I know who that's named after. I don't know how to pronounce the name. This is a defender mech. It is a hardy and efficient platform, which does a lot of like shielding. Think the AWOL pilot almost from Titanfall 2, but like bigger, like really fucking big. It even kind of looks like him actually with the stuff there. And the helmet as well. It reminds me of like the first company, the ITSN. It's got like this a lot of these mechs, yeah, I mean, literally all of the mechs for Harrison Armory, they really are just like these kind of like bulky, like, you know, as much armor as we could pack onto the thing that we are making, kind of mechs. Which you know, yeah, I kind of get it. You know, it's yeah, I get it. You know, it really does remind me though of like almost like the Cloak or AWOL pilots from Titanfall 2. I wonder if that was like an art reference in some capacity, or like some sort of like inspiration, because like you know, I'm not crazy, sort of. Anyway, next mech is the H.A. Sherman, which is a striker and artillery mech. This one is, quote, the classic Harrison Armory frame. Any station, nation, world, or state stellar or interstellar with an armory fleet supply contract fields a backbone force of Sherman mechs. This kind of rocks. This one, it reminds me a lot of like, almost like, I think, you know what I think it is? I think a lot of the Harrison Armory mechs remind me of like, almost like, Space Marines in Warhammer, of like how bulky they are, how it like looks like almost they shouldn't be able to like move the way they do, and then they do anyway. Like that's kind of what this one especially reminds me of that a lot. I don't know why. Maybe it's just like the fucking chest armor mates, the way he's like bending down. I'm not entirely certain, but this shit I like the helmet. Almost looks like either a spaceship, or is that a fucking engine at the back of the helmet? It looks like a spaceship, or like a no, you know what it looks like? It looks like the Dead Space helmet. That's what it looks like. It looks like the Dead Space helmet. Yeah, there we go. This video is going to be filled with referential anything, because God, I love Lancer, dude. This shit is fucking peak. I love this shit. Like, it looks like, it looks almost like the stuff that's, like, on it, like, the cloth, almost looks like a bounty hunter clothing from, like, Star Wars and shit. Like, people who know. People who know. Yeah. I like this one a lot. I think this was probably my favorite of the Harrison mechs, behind the next one. Yeah, overall, I'd say. Next up, and I think lastly in the Harrison catalog, is the Tokugawa, which is a quote, a relative newcomer on the market for like close combat and shipboarding and yada yada yada. And you know, this is again made by Harrison. So the guys who made all the other bulky mechs, they made one that's a little less bulky, and it's got like, I think it's got like the swords from like fucking How to Train Your Dragon. Whatchamacallit? The fucking the Hiccup has it in like one of the movies. Every single fucking design of all of these mechs, just, they're genuinely peak. I don't, like, look at the, look at the fucking little tassels or whatever. Like, it looks almost like a fucking hornet has been like armored in like almost like a knight's suit of armor, and it's just like flying around in like the fucking like plate mail or whatever. Like it's so fucking cool, man. It's so fucking cool. Oh my god. At any rate, that is the fucking Harrison Armory Corporation. And now, at long last, at the end of the video, well, yeah, at the end of the video, we've gone through Lancer, basically the mechs, you know, very, very, I don't think I've really gave a proper like overview of the setting and stuff. But you know what? Here's what I'm gonna say. You see all this art and stuff, and all the fucking writing and shit, and like all the screenshots that I've taken, and like all the pictures and stuff, all that stuff. Guess what? All that peak is free. The PDF is free online. You can get it for free right now. Go get it, and you can go you can support them on their website. I actually really do, support them. This shit is fucking awesome. I hope they make more mechs because this is fucking incredible. But this is genuinely like you can just get this for free. The entire PDF, which is I think 259 pages, and includes a character sheet at the very end. This is fucking peak. This is absolute fucking peak. Dude, I fucking love mechs. This is ecstasy for me. The fucking peak fiction. Peak fiction. Peak fiction. Absolute peak fiction. This is peak fiction. I absolutely love this shit. You know what? You know how much I love this shit? You know how much I love this shit?